Welcome to the Spring 2022 Challenger Sales Institute Role Play Finals. So we're going to have 4 finalists. They will have 20 minutes each for a role play with the Chief Executive Officer of Bowers Trucking for this role play, and they're selling Love's products. So hopefully we can see pretty well at the end. The contestants will come in one at a time, and there will be a few minutes break between. I'll remind the judges in here that this is a live feed. It's hard to end it and reconnect it. So if you guys want to talk during, be a little bit quiet. And I'm going to go get the first student, and we should be ready to begin the finals in about 2 minutes. All right.
All right, so I gotta be a little mean now.
I think it's still dumb.
It is.
Just 1 second. Let's see, I'm gonna have to move over here, I think. Go ahead. As soon as you knock, I get it, all right?
Yeah, come in.
Hi, Ryan.
Yes,
Hi, my name's Amanda Woodley,
Hi,
Fleet
Amanda.
Sales Representative with Love's.
nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for meeting with me here today. Here's
Yeah.
my business card for you.
You bet.
So first, before we start, I just want to say I'm absolutely honored to be here with you today. I mean, your company, family owned, your
Yeah.
father founded it, just such a legacy with family values being the core of it. I'm truly honored to be here with such a nationwide legacy.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you.
thank you so much for your time.
Sure.
I know you're a very busy man, so is a 15 to 17 minute meeting, does that time frame work okay for you?
It should.
Okay, so during that time, what I wanted to do is, you had such a successful past, I want to see where you guys are going in the future. I want to see where Loves can fit into that and bring you guys into that next generation, the continued generation of connectivity in the nation and maybe even beyond. So, is it okay if I take notes during this meeting?
No,
Is
yeah,
that-
please do. And I've got some notes too myself because there's definitely some things I'd like to touch
Yeah,
upon as
well,
well.
let's start there. What would you like to add?
And
to the
yeah,
agenda?
and Garrett's not in here obviously, but he's aware of some of these things.
Sure.
But well, first thing I wanted to do was just see where we were at with those tire blowouts with the lawsuits
Yeah.
and an employee of mine that was injured.
Absolutely. Well, I contacted our headquarters, and I did send Garrett an email.
Okay.
Don't know if he got back to you. It was just a couple of moments ago,
Oh,
or
okay.
about an hour ago, right
Okay.
after our meeting ended.
Yeah.
So I have started to look into addressing that and figuring out what exactly went wrong and how we can really move past that and try to assess what happened, really, because, at Love's, we want to always keep you moving forward. And of course, with the warranty that I discussed with Garrett, we're more than happy to help in figuring out those next steps.
Yeah, and that's obviously important if I'm,
Sure.
going to do business with somebody
Yeah.
like Love, which is a family business like mine, which I appreciate.
Absolutely.
Those are just some legal things that, that are giving me some cause for some concern.
Sure.
And then, added on top of that, you're probably not aware of this. We do some work now with the Air Force,
Okay.
and we mobilize some certain I would call sensitive type loads.
Sure.
And recently, one of these loads, they have two drivers. They have to have two drivers. They're armed drivers because of the type of stuff that they're hauling. So it's very specific type stuff, not your run of the mill thing. So two armed drivers. Always has to be one driver in the truck at all times.
Okay.
It can never be empty.
Yeah.
And we ran into an incident in your location in Guthrie,
Okay.
where one of the drivers was taking a shower in the bathroom. The other driver was going to wait and get some stuff done with the tires and so forth. And one of the representatives of Speedco came out to look at it. My driver told him, said, I can't leave the truck. I can't get out
Okay.
to take photos just to show this to you. And they kind of insisted upon them getting out of the truck.
Okay.
And so my driver, as a mistake, got out of the truck and started, kind of conversing with the Speedco person representative,
Okay.
and wasn't paying attention. And come to find out, when all said and done, the locks were broken on the back of the trailer. Now, nothing was taken,
Okay.
thank God.
Yeah.
However, anytime those locks are broken, they're actually sensitive. The government actually has a sensor on them, and they can tell. So I end up about 3 days later, I get a phone call from the FBI, and I got to fly from my house in Houston up to Park City to be interviewed with the FBI to kind of explain how this happened and what happened. So, I mean, obviously we're going to haul more and more of these loads. Hopefully they're very profitable. But one of my concerns is like this kind of stuff can't happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's bad for our name, and I don't like having to, take a corporate jet and
Sure.
fly up to Ponca City,
Sure.
and Lord knows be interviewed by the FBI.
Right. That's never
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. So come to find out, I mean, we really didn't get any trouble, but we got a very severe warning, like none of this thing can happen again.
Yeah.
So what I need to know from you is like some kind of assurance that this doesn't happen again.
Okay. Yeah, well, of course, congratulations on your contract with the Air Force. First of all, that's very, very impressive, and shows that they trust you. Something that, with our employees, we do try to instill in them, with the oil changes in Speedco, for example. Let's start with that with Speedco. The technician does go in and they do all their fixes, and I do apologize that happened, because that's very serious.
Yeah.
I will say we are working on training in a lot of places to prevent this from happening again, and just and we will make sure from now on. I will definitely immediately after this meeting contact the people at the Guthrie location and make sure that it's right at the root. We make sure that will never happen again, especially with sensitive loads. And then moving forward, I will bring that to our corporate offices and make sure that these technicians understand, with sensitive loads like this, there can't be that conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I do apologize for that. Does that kind of answer the question?
Well, I mean,
know it's-
obviously it sounds like you need to do a little bit of stuff on your side of it, but I wanted to bring it to your attention.
Thank you. I
and-
appreciate that.
And, obviously it can't happen again, but I wanted to bring to your attention that, when your facility CFI's truck pull in, it may not be just hauling the everyday typical things, right?
Sure.
Very sensitive
Absolutely.
type loads.
Absolutely.
So, you need to be conscious of that.
Yes, well, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention, and we will definitely immediately address that. Just to kind of switch gears here, when I was talking to Garrett, he was telling me a little bit about the future of Bowers and where you guys are going. So, And I know that you've worked with Loves in the past in different areas, and just want to see, where are you guys going in the future? What is your ultimate goal and vision?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because that's actually the next thing on my list. So
Okay,
it's almost as if you read my list. So I've actually secured $250 million from Chase Bank,
Okay.
and I'm going to start my own factoring company.
Oh, okay.
And I know Love's has a factoring company today,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken, but I've seen my drivers kind of want that. And I see a way that I can do that for them pretty easily and make some money at it, I think. So, so just kind of letting you know that, I mean, we're gonna, you know, kind of dive into that and try and make some money doing that.
Okay.
And so the only thing that I would ask is, since we're doing business, is that you don't reach out to any of my current contractors or drivers to try to get them to sign up on factoring.
Okay, well, I mean, typically whenever we do, meet and make these decisions, we usually will go through, representatives. We try not to just capture, individual drivers. Could you tell me a little bit more, like, congratulations on, your continued expansion. Could you tell me a little more on what you might be doing with that, or why that direction? Could you tell me?
Well, because there's a need for it,
Okay.
because sometimes with these independent contractors, they might not get paid for 90 days,
Okay. Yeah.
and so they want to get paid sooner. So really what we do is that we pay them sooner.
Mhm.
We being ours will pay them sooner, as opposed to waiting for that contract to come through the shipper.
Okay.
And therefore, we can pay them like the next day, as opposed to them waiting 90 days. Now, obviously, we take a percentage of that, just as a bank would.
Yeah.
And so that's revenue. That's a revenue stream that I feel like that as we continue to grow ours, can be profitable.
Okay.
I mean, Love's is factoring today. You do factoring, right?
Yeah,
So,
that was my next
so you
question.
understand that.
Yeah, you're reading my list now.
Okay.
What do you know about Love's factoring?
I mean, it seems like you guys have grown. I mean, you've been factoring
Absolutely.
for about 8 or 9 years,
Sure. Yeah.
and you guys seem to be good at it.
Yeah, we do offer that funding within the
Mhm.
60, within a 24-hour
Yeah.
period, really. So, we do offer that, and with the factoring, there's the ability to bundle it with a lot of our other services. So there are a lot of benefits
Yeah.
to that. So as far as, your overarching goals with the factoring and where you're going with that, I don't know how much Garrett shared with you. Do you see a future with Loves in terms of, some of our other offerings like Tire Pass or our retread program?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, our drivers definitely, everything that I hear, they want to stop at a Love's.
Mhm.
I keep hearing about these reward points, and it's all they ever talk about is reward points, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's great. If the drivers like it
Absolutely.
and it makes them happy. That's great.
Okay.
That's great. But when you ask me, again, our growth, I think, is that we'll in some ways be somewhat of, I guess, a competitor of yours when it comes to factoring.
Sure.
So I'm just letting you know that ahead of time, make sure that there's no issues there, because if we do get it to do more business with more gallons going your way and more tires and so forth,
Okay.
I just want to be very clear that I am going to have this factoring business.
Okay. Something else, I don't know if I did mention the bundling with the factoring and,
Mhm.
Tire Pass and all of that. And again, congratulations on your success moving forward with that.
Yeah.
What would you need to see today to talk about really solidifying, setting up that Tire Pass for your drivers, that retread, those
Mhm.
other systems, and kind of being your logistics company, right? You're in the
Mhm.
business of logistics. How can we as Loves be that support to help propel you in the future as you're getting all these new deals, as you're continuing to expand? How can we do that for you? What did you need to see today?
I guess the one thing that I would need to see, I don't know if I could see it today, but I want to be clear, is we can't have any more incidences
Absolutely.
of tires blowing and that's having accidents,
Absolutely.
the drivers getting hurt, or in the instance of some of these secured loads,
Mhm.
making sure that your staff is fully aware.
Sure.
So if all that is behind us, and we don't think that's an issue, I mean, it really just comes down to, if we were to commit volume on tires and
Mhm.
commit volume on fuel, us getting the best deal possible.
Absolutely.
And that's really what it boils down to.
Okay.
So I need it to be safe, right? We covered that. And then the loads need to be on time, so we can't have the breakdowns.
Sure.
But then also got to see the savings on the fuel. Because I think they mentioned to you that there's some locations where your price isn't as aggressive as your competitor.
Yeah. Mhm.
But my driver still goes to you because they like points.
Right.
And so we need to if we can kind of alleviate that, then I think that there's no reason why we can't give all of our business to Love's.
Well, absolutely, and it's funny you mentioned that. There was something I did want to bring up to Garrett, but our time was short, like I said. I do have a couple things to show you in the next maybe 6 to 8 minutes. Is it okay?
Of course.
You know, if you see value in it, would you be willing to move forward and help, let Love's help you for the future?
Okay.
Is that something you'd be willing to do?
Of course.
Absolutely, all right, well, I will actually. Okay. So we have a system called our expressive billing program.
See the little heart on there.
Yes,
That's
yes,
cool.
a little love buggy.
Love bug, yeah.
Yep, so let me pull up this here. Forgive me. So what our universal billing program is it's essentially in our Love's Express card, essentially is, a card that you would give to your own fleet and your own drivers. And what they can do with that Express card, you see, we have all of these Love's locations, but if by chance your driver, you wanted that lower pricing, that's something that's important to you. With the Express card, you can go to, at least the universal billing program, you can authorize certain locations for certain drivers. So say you had a driver up in this area and they saw Flying J with, lower prices. They could use their universal billing card to go fuel, so you get the lower cost there, while they're also getting those Love's Rewards points.
Wow.
And you can authorize that for certain drivers, if that makes sense. So is that something that you would find, is that something that kind of addresses that issue of, the pricing differences?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the discount price though would need to be addressed. I mean, the actual price, because my guys they're going to want to go to Love's. So I think if you made the discount a little bit cheaper at some of these markets by a couple of cents, I think that it would alleviate that.
Okay, could you clarify a little bit what you mean by, so you're talking about the actual fuel prices themselves,
Yeah.
like lowering those?
The discount.
Okay, well, of course, gas prices, fuel prices, they are constantly shifting and leading. By actually through our factoring program, there's a way we can bundle it, and we might be able, I know you have
That's
your
a
own
problem
factoring
because I've
company.
done a
I
problem
know
of my
there's a
own.
conflict there, of course. And with that, so there would be a way we can work out, maybe talk further, discuss exact pricing options as we bundle some of these things to get the prices down just a couple cents. And as an incentive for you and, for your drivers, they like those rewards. And
For sure.
I mean, it's your family, right? You're treating your family well.
Absolutely.
With these rewards. So that's really important. Does that kind of answer your concern?
If you can do that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we might be able to work something out with that, in regards to that.
Okay.
How are you feeling? Let's just take a
How
step
do I
back
feel?
and see how you're
Feel
feeling.
old.
Right. Well, you don't look it.
Thank you.
Let's just see how you're feeling. On
Yeah.
a scale of 1 to 10 right now, how confident are you that Love's could be that partner with you?
Again, if we don't have any more of these issues that we've had before,
Absolutely.
be very clear about that. And you had an understanding that we have some sensitive loads that we're hauling.
Sure.
And if you were able to get your price a little bit more aggressive in a few markets, I feel 8.5 or 9 to a 9 that we can make this happen.
Hey, we're in the right direction. That's
For
what I
sure.
like to hear.
For sure.
So what is stopping us from that perfect 10?
You telling me that you can make the price lower, and then you can assure me that none of these other issues happen.
Well, I can absolutely assure you that these issues have been addressed. I've been working actually hand in hand right after Garrett. Immediately went and called, emailed 10 times to meet with you actually.
Right.
And, set everything up. So we can assure you that, ours from family to family, we want you to feel like you're moving forward and you have that clear path
Great.
to the future. So
Excellent.
does that kind of answer your
It does.
concern? All right, well, then from here, can we go ahead and get that set up that?
If you send me the contract on there for the additional discount and so forth, yeah.
Absolutely. We
Okay.
can get set up. Thank
Great.
you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for coming by.
Holy cow. Dang, I was not expecting that. That is for sure. You threw me. Thank you so much, though. That was fun. I'm definitely sweating a little bit. Wow, that was good. That was good. It's almost like you guys do this for a living or something. Jeez. Well, I just want
You
to
did
say
good.
thank you so much for this opportunity. I cannot say how grateful. Like, I've never been past Alabama, so
Oh,
the
really?
fact that we can even come here, like it means so much to us.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
I hope this isn't the last time.
Thank you. No,
Right.
definitely not.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thanks. All right, I will go get our next contestant. You guys good to go?
Good.
Just need a minute or two? You want me to hold for,
I think I'm okay.
you okay? All right, I'll be right back. This is one of the problems with this generation, they don't wear a watch. Like, 10 seconds. I have to do it now. All right.
Totally count. That's not going to count to 20.
You're gonna knock, right? Okay.
Come in.
Brandon, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Kate Bismuth, Love's Fleet Sales.
Nice to meet you, Katie.
Great to meet you. How's your day going so far?
It's a Monday, or it's a Friday, so just living for the weekend.
There you go. Great to hear. Do you have any plans for this weekend?
Golf for sure, all weekend hopefully. Watch a little bit of basketball.
Right. Yeah. What courses do you usually play in the Palm City area?
Actually, I don't usually. I go to my house in Edmond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a couple favorite courses in that area?
Oak Tree's definitely a good one. Yeah, good golf course. We've had a couple of majors there.
Yeah.
Good place.
I'm definitely a little rusty on my game. I need to get back into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my father actually is he's a fantastic golfer.
Wow.
He makes fun of me whenever I get out and play with him.
Wow.
So,
Well, you about to practice then.
yeah, I probably should. But,
Yeah, but it's all right. I still beat Garrett all the time when I play him. Maybe he lets me win. I don't know.
Good to hear. Well, thank you for our time today. I know we
Sure.
have 17 minutes for a meeting to discuss a potential partnership with Bowers and Loves
Mhm.
and the implications with that. First and foremost, I want to commend you for taking over the Bowers organization in the early 2000s and growing from around 14 trucks and trailers to over 68 tractors and 183 trailers in a really short time period. being president of this organization, how has managing that growth and leading a company of this size in such a short time? Yeah.
Oh, it's had its ups and downs, I mean, and, COVID, us getting through COVID like we did, I think it was a true testament to all the employees. So I guess been a little bit lucky and just worked hard. I really not, I would tell you, luck and work hard.
Very
Yeah.
good.
And we've got other things, and we're going to continue to grow and some things maybe I'm going to talk to you about at some point here as we continue to grow.
Great. And on the topic of growth, what areas do you see Bowers growing in the near future?
Well, it's funny you should ask that because that's actually on my list to talk to you about. Is I secured a $250 million line of credit with Chase, and I'm going to start my own factoring company.
So I'm hearing you're beginning your own factoring company.
Yep.
And why is that? Is it to further assist the just cash flows in general?
Cash flow for my contractors. Yeah, I'm okay on cash flow. I got $250 million credit line. So what I've been hearing from my owner operators or contractors is, it takes them sometimes 60 to 90 days to get paid for the load. So what I'm going to do is take upon that risk, and so I can pay them probably the next day after they deliver the load, and then of course I'll take a percentage of it, and so that'll be a money stream for the company because the drivers have been looking for things like that, and I know Love does have factoring.
Mhm.
I understand that you do, and some ways I will be a competitor of yours. But I definitely think that with my influence and with the drivers that I have, that they'll sign up and do it through me. And then, if we want to continue our partnership, and I know that you talked to Daniel and you talked to Garrett about different things that Love's has to offer, and I'm kind of aware of them. We can go over some more, but if we are going to be truly partners, that you respect the fact that I am starting my factory company, and that I'll give you a list of all my contractors so that you don't try to steal them.
Fair. Yeah.
Is that fair?
That makes sense, and thank you for that clarification.
Yeah,
What is pushing your drive to go out and begin this factoring program? Is it
because
to
I think
maintain driver retention and allow your owned operators to be more likely to jump on with Bowers?
I think it's part of that. Yeah, I think that second one is right. But I think probably one of the things equally as important is the same reason why Love's got into factoring. It's profitable, right? It makes Love's money, I'm sure, or you wouldn't do it. And you're a very successful company. So I see a niche where I can continue to grow Bowers' profitability through factoring.
That makes sense, and thank you for that clarification,
Mhm.
Brandon. So with your growth and expansion and wanting to move into a factoring system, would you supply and provide factoring services for drivers outside of Bowers' fleet as well?
That's a good question. Probably not at first, at least. At first, I think it'll be strictly between people that we have some type of a relationship with that's hauling loads for us, either currently or in the near future. So I think initially, no, it wouldn't be, but heck, who knows? I could have a factory company that's as big as Love someday.
Very true. And I thank you for that clarification once again of wanting to instill the factory program into your current drivers and fleet you currently maintain.
Mhm.
Have you been familiar with the factory programs that Love's offers as well?
Yeah, I saw them, and I've talked to some companies that's used them. But yeah, you guys have done a good job. There's certainly no question about that.
Of course. And so as I'm sure you're familiar then, we do offer 99% of cash advances within either the same day or the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a service that is really meant to equip Bowers and equip your driver retention, but also maintain positive, I mean, you have a $25 million line of credit, but maintain that positive brand image and increasing your expansion through bringing in more owned operators.
Exactly. And yeah, I don't need the factor of Love's because I've got plenty of money. But that's why I want to do. I want to turn my money into more money.
That makes sense, and that sounds like a reasonable investment. However, with factoring, oftentimes as an organization comes risks, especially depending on the factory terms that you're looking to provide. So would you be looking to presenting recourse or non-recourse factoring as well?
I'll do both.
You'll do both.
Mm-hmm.
And you're familiar with the risks of offering non-recourse options?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, Thank you for that clarification, and I'd love to move forward with the other aspects of love services.
Yeah, so a couple other things that I like to kind of make you aware of, and it's again, as we look at, as you, along the way, I understand you guys want a partnership. And again, all this springs from the fact that, my drivers prefer to go to Love's, right? Now, we've had these incidents, right? So I'd like to know kind of where we're at with the lawsuit on, the two tires that blew out that caused accidents. And then I had my driver that had the broken ankle. I assume, are we near getting that resolved?
Yes, I'm actually surprised that one of the representatives haven't reached out to you yet
And they may have, I've just been busy, but it's possible.
Okay.
So if you think it's taken care of.
I think it should be on the way to be taken care of. I was able to notify our headquarters. And they were just as surprised at those issues as I was in our conversation with your son Garrett. So they were said that they were going to be taking course of action to recommend and make those situations right.
But let me hit you with one other thing here that happened recently. It's kind of when you ask about our growth and kind of some things we're doing is I've actually secured, I'm kind of retired, but kind of a little project where I actually secured some loads with the United States Air Force in Boeing. So I'm actually going to be hauling, I've been doing this actually already, hauling some secured loads. Some very sensitive loads for the government. And so what happens in those loads is every tractor will have two drivers. I have a driver and a co-driver. The driver, at all times, there's at least one person in the cab of the truck because they're hauling very obviously sensitive material. So recently in Guthrie, Oklahoma, we had an incident where one of our trucks was overheating, and so we stopped at a Speedco. Well, what the passenger had gotten out, went and got a shower and so forth, and the driver stayed in the truck. The person running the Speedco insisted upon the driver to get out of the truck. And the driver told him initially, "Hey, look, I lose my job, I get in trouble. I need to explain to you what my issues are." The person at your Speedco, I said, "No, I need you to get out of the truck." So my driver gets out of the truck, kind of steps over to the front of the truck, start talking to your Speedco representative or person that works for your Speedco. And then lo and behold, we find out later, like 20 minutes later, that somebody had used bolt cutters and cut the lock on the back of the trailer. Well, since this is sensitive loads, as soon as that happens, the government's notified. Now, they didn't get away with anything, right? So nothing got taken out of it. However, when that happened, that spawns a chain of events that include that the FBI gets notified. All of a sudden now they start wondering if Bowers is a safe operating, safe, secure operating company to haul these type of materials. So the next thing I'm in Houston, fishing, and I get a phone call that the FBI is in my office in Park City, and I got to get on, charter a jet and fly up there and explain to the FBI how this could happen. Now again, nobody took anything. But one thing that's important to note is that sometimes we're hauling these sensitive materials. If we're going to continue to buy more from Love's and be involved with Love's, it's very important this never happens again. So I just want you to understand, Kate, it's important to me that if we're going to have these partnerships, and again, Oklahoma-based company, family-based company, all these great things, these things that continue to happen, it can't happen. These are safety issues. And these are legal issues, so I need to make sure that if we go forward with the relationship and get more volume, because we're going to continue to grow, as you mentioned, and I'm sure Garrett told you, we're going to continue to grow. I think this factoring thing will help us grow. We need a partner like Love's, but I need you to be aware that these types of things are very concerning.
And I sincerely apologize for that, Rand. And to clarify, your concern is with this continued partnership, and if we are going to move forward, we need to ensure that those situations never happen again, and that Love's truck stops are a safe and friendly location that you could bring your loads, even if they are contracted by the Department of Defense, which I know Bowers Trucking is the only contracted trucking organization by the Department of Defense in Oklahoma. So I'm hearing those issues, and I'm ready to rectify them. In addition to our tire pass revamp, with the technology we implemented there and similar to our retread services, we have been increasing our technology also on the security side of Love's truck stops. We have those cameras in place, And we are looking to increase that visibility to deter that type of activity.
Mhm.
So I sincerely apologize once again on behalf of Loves.
Sure.
Also, as I mentioned in my previous conversation with Garrett, we are increasing our management presence at all of our Speedco locations. So with the explanation that your driver gave to one of our Speedco retread technicians, obviously that didn't get through, that he needed to stay in the cab.
Mhm.
With increased visibility with management at those locations, that should never happen.
Okay.
So does that alleviate some of your hesitancies of moving forward with the relationship with Bowers and Loves?
If you're confident that that should be rectified, then yeah, I mean, that's good. And as long as you guys understand that I'm gonna be opening my factoring company, and you guys are okay with that, then there's no reason why we can't talk about how we can close the deal on more stuff.
Of course, great. Well, I'm glad we were able to address those concerns and propose ideas. In my previous conversation with Garrett, we were actually able to cover a significant amount of value
Mhm.
that Loves will be able to provide Bowers with for services that we provide.
Yep.
We actually were able to put over $1.5 million back into Bowers' pocket, further aiding that expansion and that growth that you're looking to conduct. And not only $1.5 million, but also services that are providing value and creating a more safe environment for your drivers in their day-to-day.
Mhm.
So we touched on the tire pass system and how that was a comprehensive assessment that's proactive rather than reactive and prevents those bumps from happening down the road. And if we have multiple technicians on that job where they're waiting for you at our tire pass locations as your trucks pull in, and we have a 24/7 tire pass lane dedicated to your tire pass needs. So we touched on that and how it's able to mitigate costs and also increase the confidence that Bowers truck drivers have while operating Bowers vehicles. Because once again, we're creating a safer environment and a safer drive time for them.
Right.
Do you see the value of implementing a system like this to further increase driver retention and driver confidence, and as well as customer confidence with delivering loads on time?
Yeah, I mean, all these things, if it works right, I mean, again, Garrett's closer to it than I am, and Daniel obviously deals with it every day. The $5 per inspection, is that negotiable?
So that is not negotiable. However, when we pan over to our reward system, that's actually able to completely pay for that tire pass system due to the reward points that you'll generate every single time to fill up your tank at a truck stop. So this happens simultaneously as your drivers are refueling.
Right.
And with a platinum member status, which is what you've achieved with a fleet of 68 trucks and 183 trailers, you would actually receive enough points to completely pay off for this system on an annual basis.
Okay. Well, nothing beats free.
So another point of value that both Garrett and I uncovered in our previous meeting was fuel savings with the My Loves Express billing program.
Yeah, he brought that up to me. So one thing about this that I would say is when you talk about this off of the cash price, right, the 14 cents, your price is still a couple of cents off of what you're comparing in certain markets. So I'm sure he brought up to you, I hope he did, he told me he did, that I still have some of my drivers that deviate off of where they're supposed to be buying their fuel at. So your competitor offers 2 cents better than you are at a couple of locations. Yet my drivers still continue to go to Loves. They go, 4 miles out of route to go to the Loves, which really means they're 8 miles out of route because they got to go 4 miles there, 4 miles back. And then what they're paying, they're getting the 14 cents, like you said, sort of. But the issue is that if they stayed on the route and they went to the pilot, your competitor, it would still be about 2 or 3 cents less. So if we can get that taken care of and we can get that adjusted, then I think that I could commit more of my volume to you.
Right, just to clarify, you're concerned about the price discrepancy and a price point that isn't really consistent with your goals.
That's right.
Your drivers would rather go to a Flying J or Pilot J location.
No, my drivers rather go to Loves, but the problem is it's costing me more when they go to Loves, even with this 14 cents. So what I need you to do is be able to get me a little bit better deal at Loves at some of these locations.
Thank you for the clarification. So with our Loves Express billing and universal billing program, we're actually able to offer competitive and consistent rates. So not only will you be able to handle all of your fuel needs in one place, but it'll be a consistent rate that won't necessarily change very frequently, and you'll still experience those 14 cents per gallon. So that's offered through the My Love Connect app that I'd love to focus on very briefly. And that's a system where you're able to manage all of your fleet usage and maintenance, but also all of your fueling as well in one place. and you could pay off a monthly fuel bill all in one place for your whole entire fleet, which is very useful in your expansion as well.
Great.
So in the interest of time, Ronan, I'd love to set up a follow-up meeting for next week to further discuss how Bowers is able to be remedied and assisted in their expansion with Love's products.
Are you willing to go to Pebble Beach, because that's 12 weeks?
Great. Well, how about we get a round of golf then as well?
Sounds good.
Great.
All right, appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Brandon.
Thanks, Gabe.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Down and knock, and then she'll let you come on in.
All right, come in.
Brandon,
How you doing?
giving you with loves. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Go ahead and give you my business card for
Yeah.
reference.
Appreciate it.
There. Beautiful drive up here to Ponca City, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
How's it been growing up around this part?
Oh, it was good. It's good, but it's funny. When I golf and do my vacations, I go someplace else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a much different atmosphere than Houston, Texas. That's
Yeah.
where I'm originally from.
Interesting.
And traffic is probably not the same in Houston as it is here in Ponca City.
We'll talk about Houston in a minute. Actually, it's one of my things to talk to you about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We can make that happen.
Great.
Well, I know that you have a lot of valuable time and I want to make the most use of that. And
Sure.
We have 17 minutes today.
Sure.
Well, I know that previously meeting with your son Gary,
Mhm.
we discussed a lot of the past issues that you were facing. And we were able to go in and, reprimand maybe some of those hesitations with, I know you previously mentioned an issue with the driver hurting his ankle, going into those different tire treads and how you were having blowouts. We talked about how Love's is currently using more innovative technology to leverage the technology that we're using to ensure the safety of your buyers.
Yeah.
Now, aside from some of those things that I mentioned, Raymond, do you have anything that you specifically want to bring to my attention?
Actually, I do. I have two things.
Yeah.
In no particular order, but I guess we could jump to something
Yeah.
bad, a little bad first. So it sounds like we've kind of resolved the issues of the two accidents and my driver getting hurt. It sounds like it, at least we're on the road to that. So that's positive.
Yeah.
But just to make you aware, so I am mostly retired, but I've been involved in a few of the sales still today, and we secured a very good lane of product for the Air Force with Boeing.
Yeah.
And so it's a secured load, which means that it has a driver and a passenger armed at each time, because what they're hauling, which I don't even know exactly what we're hauling, but it's obviously it's highly secured stuff for the government. And so there's some restrictions and some certain things that go along with that. Well, to make a long story short, the truck was overheating, pulled into the speed belt in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And so the passenger got out, wanted to go take a shower and so forth. It was late. Obviously, we mandate that one person stays in the cab.
Right.
So the driver stayed in the cab and pulled into the Speedco. The Speedco, the person that works for you, they asked the driver, to get out of the truck, but they needed to talk. They didn't want to have to speak up to him. And so our driver explained that he can't get out of the truck. He'd be violating company policy and basically government rules. Nevertheless, through some debate, my driver gets out, stands in the front of the truck and talks with your Speedco personnel about the overheating and what they can do to get it fixed. In that small amount of time, come to find out that the locks on the trailer got cut. Now it's not a typical trailer because it's not all typical load. So what happens next is that the government gets notified. Now nothing got taken.
Right.
Which is a positive.
That is a positive.
However, the government finds out about it, and obviously they're very particular about who hauls the loads because it's sensitive stuff, and you've got to make sure that it's nothing quirky went up and nothing internally went on. So when you mentioned Houston, it jogged my memory that I was actually in Houston fishing, and I got the phone call that the FBI was in my office here in Park City.
Right.
So I had to jump on a plane, had to get on a charter plane, a jet, and fly up here and deal with the FBI and answer all their questions, which is obviously, I don't know if you've ever been interrogated by the FBI, but it's not a lot of fun.
It's not a lot of fun. Right?
Yeah, so it was a very uncomfortable thing. They did not take the contract from us, but they did give very clear warnings that it can't happen again. So what I need you to understand is that when Bowers comes to a Love's or a Speedco, they could be hauling sensitive stuff,
Right.
and that.
And I know Bowers is one of the only, trucking companies in the industry that has those government contracts.
That's right.
And just like any other client or customer, the government, that's a huge contract for you. And that's important. I do want to apologize about that past experience there. And just to help me understand, when your drivers were going through that Speedco location, was the overheating due to a poor maintenance check, or was that the reason they were coming to?
No, it wasn't anybody at Love's fault that was overheating.
Right, it was just
the truck overheats.
Yeah,
it happens.
It happens.
It just happens, on equipment.
Yeah.
Been running hard for two people. So that's not Love's fault, but we go to Love's to get it fixed.
Yeah.
And most times, 9 out of 10, it gets fixed fine. But I want to make you aware of the situation that occurred. It can't happen again. Like, it doesn't matter what we agree to here to do business wise. Like, if that happens again, like I'm gonna get that pulled from the government. That's gonna be a big problem for us both.
Well, to help ease you a little bit more, I know that Love's is wanting to, and we currently are revamping a lot of our services and programs. Now, starting with the employees, I sincerely apologize about that worker who had your driver or the other person get out of the truck and put you in a situation where you had to violate different government policies.
Yeah.
Your driver should not have to get out of the vehicle for any reason, with that, especially with our new innovative technologies that we're utilizing to really make it easier for them. But as Bowers is continuously expanding, Love's is also expanding. And with that expansion, and as we continue to grow and add more locations, we have now put in certain requirements so where we're putting in the security cameras along the entire profile of the building.
Okay.
So with that, that's just another additional safety measure that we want to take.
That's good.
And I don't want that happening anymore for you.
Yeah.
And I would like to get a little bit more about that information and look into that. But with that, we are using technology and leveraging that to help catch any type of restrictions like that. And then also revamping our training policies. That way our maintenance professional team is giving your drivers the best performance.
Okay.
Did that help clarify anything?
Well, yeah, I just want to bring that to your attention.
For you, yeah, and I'm happy you
understand
did.
that, yeah.
But, I know we did talk about, me and Garrett, how you more efficiently want to help in that maintenance process to help ensure the safety of your drivers. As I know, Bowers is a family company and that you prioritize that. And here at Love's, we come from a similar background, to where we also want to help instill that for you. Aside from that, we talked about the different competitive reward programs that we offer and how that can allow your drivers to focus on just getting those shipments there where they need to be, and how we can better organize and streamline your different systems. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
There is,
Okay.
actually. So I just want to make you aware. So I know you guys have a factoring company that you're factoring. So I was actually able to go and secure $250 million line of credit with Chase. And I'm going to start my own factoring company with my drivers and contractors. This is something that looks like it was needed. And I think it's actually going to help my drivers. And honestly, just for the same reason Love's got into factoring, it's a way for me to make some more profit.
Yeah, and at Bowers, I know you're continuously growing, and with having that additional factoring company, that's one extra competitive edge that you're able to offer for your drivers.
That's
Now,
right.
I'm curious to know, with that factoring that you're doing, are you going through both recourse and non-recourse?
I am.
Or do you have, and how fast you're able to get those drivers their payments?
Typically 24 to 48 hours.
Okay, good.
So
And
pretty good, yeah.
right there with Love's.
That's important.
Yeah.
Well, it's not at Love's. It's it's on there. I'm paying them.
Right, yeah, so, but right there at Love's offers those same services, the 24 to the same day payments.
Yeah.
But, and that's something that factoring, we can definitely, redress in the future and how that goes, but.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't work for me, then which I think it will. I mean,
Right.
I think it really is just time value of money, and I'm fortunate enough to have the money, and so therefore I think I can turn it and make some profit, just like I'm sure Lowe's does.
Yeah, and that's a huge goal to continue to do with that factoring, to, prioritize those drivers and get them that same day to next day payment. I would like to go ahead and show you some of our services
Sure.
where you can save them money and help ensure do that for the
Okay.
drivers. That's something you want to.
Yeah. Garrett's kind of let me know a little bit about what you guys have talked about before, so
Okay,
I
good.
have a few questions as you go. I'm sure.
Yes, yeah. So as I mentioned, we are taking a more proactive rather than a reactive approach with the Tire Pass program. And in this, as I'm sure Garrett previously mentioned to you, that we're going so much further on than just that different inflation assessment, but checking those tread depth measurements and doing a full power system check in order to catch any red flags or offset any potential breakdowns that will put your drivers in any type of roadside or dangerous situation. Now, can you see the value in how a Tire Pass program like this can provide the utmost safety for your drivers and help getting their packages to your clients?
Yeah, I mean, I think if that's the case, yeah, I think that if it's working like Jared explained it, yeah, I can see value in that.
Yeah.
Is it $5 per inspection?
Yes, that is gonna be $5 per inspection going through that process.
And if I were to give you all my business fuel and tires, is that negotiable?
You know, we are really interested in Bowers, and to clarify what you're asking if we can work with that pricing, is that correct? Yeah, Loves is really interested in working with Bowers, and that is something that we can definitely work out to customize a plan for Bowers that will better help support your growth in that.
Okay.
I will say where we do get that cost is, as I previously mentioned, like to opposed to paying those blowouts, which happens in the industry. It's average, but the thing is, we don't want to make Bowers average in that industry. We want to set you apart.
I agree.
So aside from that tire pass, another thing that Garrett had previously mentioned was through that retread services that we are offering for you. Now, and that retread program is a super intensive process to where we are going from inspecting all of those tires, doing through the x-ray inspections, and we've helped acquire additional boom boxes that actually will catch any type of emergency accidents there, aside opposed from them happening down the road.
Okay.
With that. Now,
is that what this is?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what that boom box is.
interesting.
Now, Gary, could you see? I'm sorry. Wait, could you see Ron?
I wish I was Garrett. He was a lot younger.
He was a lot.
Yeah.
But could you see a value in what a retread service would do in preventing those additional costs that you have right now and replacing those tires and blowouts?
Yeah, if the retread is multiple steps like you pointed out here, I'm not exactly sure the other people that I buy retreads from what exactly the process is.
Right.
But as I mentioned before, having a partner in Loves, of giving you my tire business and my fuel business, I mean, this is interesting to me. I mean, I think this is something that can be useful, particularly if we're buying our fuel from you. We're obviously going by your speed codes and your truck stop, so getting the tire replaced would make sense by you.
Yeah, and cutting back on having to replace a whole tire for those blowouts of, looking at $500, $500 to $800 to replace tires, especially with the supply chain right now.
That's true.
Compared to paying the $150, how would that additional money back in your pocket help support that factoring program that you're wanting to implement as Bowers looks to grow?
That just it adds the profitability to my company.
Yeah.
For sure.
And with Bowers being a family-owned company, I know that you're wanting to stay competitive with these turnover rates that we're currently having, and provide your drivers the utmost benefits. And
so I can pay them more.
And that's definitely something that we want to help service you in. So we offer the My Love Reward program, and every time they fuel, they're getting a points that can be allocated towards those in-store benefits.
So that's the next thing. The last thing I want to talk to you about was that. So the rewards program is the best in the industry.
Right.
Like, I know that much, right? I've heard everybody talk about it. Daniel talked about it. Garrett talked about it. And I know the drivers, they want to go to Loves. So much so, and I think Garrett might have brought this up with you, I don't know, that sometimes my drivers will go out of route to go to a Loves. And, in some instances, 4 or 5 miles out of route. I have a discount with your competitor as well. Now my drivers rather go to Loves.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. Not even debating
But
that
then
here.
going 4 miles out, 4 miles back, that's costing you time,
That's right.
money, efficiency.
That's
I
exactly
completely
right.
understand. And they're doing it to get those drivers incentives.
Exactly.
Well, with that, I do want to show you that how those points can actually be allocated not just towards those drivers' incentives, but actually could be allocated back towards the company and those different retread services that we mentioned and those tire pass program there.
Right.
Now,
Yeah. What I would just say is that that what I would recommend you do is look at the areas where your competitor is beating you on price.
Okay.
And look and see if you can maybe sharpen your pencil there. And if you can do that, and then give me some type of a discount on the tire pass, if we commit to do all of our gallons and all of our tires with you, then I think we can make this work.
I'm looking forward to that. So what I can do is we can arrange that and I will put this all in an email over to you
Okay.
and send you a draft of our conversation today
Okay.
where we will better work out those pricings for you and get more competitive with
Okay.
those things.
That sounds great.
Awesome. I will send this all over to you in an email
Okay.
right there. And as I mentioned, a draft would be helpful
Yeah.
for you to use.
For
So,
sure.
Well, thank you so much
All
for
right.
your time.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks for coming up here.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Come in.
Hi.
Hi.
Ian?
Yeah.
Is it going to your hands up?
Nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. So, hi, thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me.
Sure.
Went through quite the fight to earn this spot, so thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
And I understand you're a really busy man.
Yeah, it's Friday too.
Yeah, so I'll make sure to confirm we still have 17 minutes for a meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, and within that 17 minutes, I'd like to spend some time just getting to know your side of the story now.
Mm-hmm.
I heard from Daniel, I heard from your son Garrett,
Oh, yeah.
and now I'd like to hear from you.
Sure.
And, you know, taking those potential areas of enhancement that you'd like to see
Mhm.
within your company and,
Yeah.
you know, take a moment to demonstrate how we can do that at Loves for You and make that into a reality. And, you know, move into those next steps if that's the right course of action.
Sure. And I got a couple of things actually I'd like to talk to you about too.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah.
And may I take some notes with me?
Of course.
All right. Yeah, we can dive right into those concerns of yours.
Well, not necessarily concerns, they're
Oh.
just two different things.
Okay.
Don't get too nervous yet about it. First thing, I guess we will talk about one thing that did happen. So I guess this will be the negative one first. So we haul stuff for the U.S. Air Force
Gotcha.
through Boeing. So one of the few vendors, few trucking companies allowed to do that. So not all of our loads are government sensitive type material. But I recently had an issue in Guthrie, Oklahoma. So whenever we're hauling sensitive loads for the Air Force and for Boeing, we have a driver and a passenger, I guess you'd say. They're both armed because they're typically hauling something
Yeah.
the government's decided is sensitive. So to make a long story short, the truck was overheating, pulled into Guthrie. It was late at night. And so the passenger jumped out to go get a shower. And so we have a policy
This
that
is at Love's?
this was at a Love's. And then we have a policy that, not just our policy, but the government too, that somebody has to stay in that truck at all times.
Okay.
So when they pulled into the speed code there at the Love's in Guthrie, they had told the tech that was working that, hey, they had an overheating problem. And the Love's person came out and said, from speed code person, came out and said, well, I need you to get out of the truck and explain it to me. And they said, no, I can't legally get out of the truck because I'm hauling sensitive load, so I can't get out of the truck. Well, long story short, a little bit of an argument. Finally, my driver who needs the truck to get fixed gets out of the truck, goes to the front of the truck to talk to the speed code person, attendant and working, and then, as bad luck would have it, while that was happening, somebody cut the locks on the trailer. Now, it's not a normal trailer. When somebody cuts the lock on a sensitive load from the government, it like sends bells and whistles and sirens off to the government. Now, luckily, nothing was taken, so that's a positive. However, the government got alerted, and so it was 2 days later. I'm in Houston fishing, and I get a phone call that the FBI is in my office here in Ponca City. Okay, that's no fun when you get that phone call, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I had to jump on a charter jet and fly up here to Ponca City, right where you're sitting, and the FBI is kind of questioning me, like how this can happen.
Okay.
Now, that's always puts me in a bad spot.
Yeah, of course.
Again, nothing was taken.
Yeah.
But I've got to know that when my drivers go to a Love's, that it's secure, and these types of things can't happen again. Because if we are going to try to grow this relationship and be buying more from Love's, this stuff can't happen.
Yeah.
Because I will lose that government contract. If I lose that government contract, I'm in serious trouble. So I need you to be aware of that. Now, before we had the issues with the accidents that happened after the blowouts, and then we had one of my drivers hurt his ankle.
Yeah.
I'm assuming pretty much all that got taken care of, is my understanding.
Yeah, I relayed the information to people.
So I just want to make sure that you understand the importance of this as well.
Yeah, of course.
That this is looked at and make sure that they know that one of our trucks come in, the policy is the driver can't get out of the truck.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for going into so much detail with that.
Yeah, there's more details, but I left them out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask, I have a lot of questions.
Sure.
That's I don't encounter that too often.
Right. Well, there's not a lot of people that call what we call.
Yeah,
so
of course.
I would expect you not to
Yeah.
use that a lot.
You're entrusted with these really secure loads, so
Mhm.
obviously just demonstrates how capable of a company you are in order for these large institutions to be trusting.
Yeah.
So I'd just like to start by asking, so it's a rather unfortunate event. I apologize that happened. It's not every day that we have these sensitive loads coming into our truck stops.
Mhm.
And I wasn't aware of such protocols.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something I could write down and make
Okay.
sure to pass along to our upper executives to make sure that they're aware of that.
Okay.
And if we have sort of an ongoing relationship where we're more or less doing a lot of business together
Mhm.
and you're coming through Love's truck stops all the time, I think it would be a lot easier for our technicians and our staff to be aware of such a thing. So currently, I know I was asking Garrett and Daniel, how often do you use those truck stops? Was that like, do you always have these sensitive loads coming through our specifically Love's, or has this happened at other locations?
Well, I've never had a trailer lock broken anywhere else. It's the first time that's ever happened.
Okay,
Thank God. I hope it's the last time it ever happens.
yeah.
But we have loads. Not all of our loads are sensitive, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we haul everything from Procter and Gamble to other general commodities.
Mhm.
So not everything is government only.
Yeah.
But one should maybe assume that it is. So therefore, when we go to your locations, we don't have this type of problem.
Okay,
Because I don't know what your company policy is on that, whether the driver has to get out or not. I don't know. It's your company. I don't run your company, but I can just tell you for mine, our driver can't get out of the truck.
okay,
And we gotta make sure that nothing like this happens again.
yeah, of course. And just a question, so when
Did you, like, alarms go off as
Mhm.
though the lock was broken at that
Mhm.
exact? Okay,
But it's a silent alarm. That's the scary thing is, so our driver didn't know about it at the exact time.
okay,
And he got
so,
notified that somebody did it. So yeah, it's very high tech.
so is there the potential, I'm not saying, well, is there the potential that the lock could have been cut prior to
No.
entering the speed code?
Mm-mm, no.
All right, just had to check.
No, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate event, and we can definitely work to sort of create a protocol
Sure.
to, you know, I'm not aware if there are any special sort of, protocols that
Yeah.
Lowe's has to address these really sensitive loads, or some way that we can identify them to
Yeah.
make sure that your loads are safe.
And you do have to be kind of careful. You don't want to put like a big blinking light that, sensitive load, then you really are asking for somebody to
Yeah,
do something
of
to the
course.
truck.
Um,
So, but I just want to bring it to your attention,
Okay.
that if we continue, if we go down the path of us buying all of our fuel and tires from you, which I know is what you want, this is one of the things that we got to make sure that we're conscious of.
Yeah, of course, I will definitely make note of that and bring that to my higher ups and definitely make that a priority.
Okay.
And I guess shifting gears,
Mhm.
what are some areas that you'd like to see enhanced other than the security it loves?
Well, I don't know if it's enhanced, but I want to make, this is the good thing, I guess I want to talk to you about is, so we're able to go out and get a $250 million line of credit from Chase. And I'm going to start my own factoring company.
Okay,
And, because, our customers, I shouldn't say customers, our drivers need it. So sometimes they're not getting paid 60 for 90 days, 60 to 90 days. And I know you guys have factoring. I know that. And I know you guys have done it for quite a while. And I'm sure you've been very successful at it. But just as you saw a need for that from your customers, to ask for that, my drivers have asked for that.
okay,
And so I'm gonna do it myself. And both, to help them out, get them paid quicker.
okay,
But then also too, it's a revenue stream for me, just as I'm sure it is for Love's.
Yeah.
So, that is something that Garrett really didn't know a lot about last time you talked.
Mhm.
And this is another reason why I wanted to sit down and talk with you is as we grow this partnership, for you to fully understand that you may be competing against my factoring company.
okay, okay. That's very interesting. But that's great that you're entering that realm, and I mean, to have sort of an ethical, respectable factoring company, because I know it used to not have the best rep.
It's true.
They used to be seen as loan sharks.
That's a good point.
But,
I don't think Love's is looked at that way, and I think if you do it fair, I'll do mine fairly,
Yeah.
so, as you guys have done, I think, through the years. But it's definitely a way to make some revenue and to help the drivers.
of course, and currently, we're not doing any factoring, as of right now.
Not
correct?
with us, no,
Okay.
I don't need factoring, no.
Yeah, because you're opening up. I
Yeah.
just wanted to confirm, like,
Yeah.
prior.
No.
Okay. I mean, I don't see an issue with it.
Okay, good.
You could go and do your business endeavors, but, yeah, I guess for this partnership, we could work out what services underneath, like away from factoring,
Mm-hmm.
that you'd be sort of involved in. I understand, some of the drivers use tire pass and,
Yes,
retread tires.
Mhm.
So I guess we could shift towards that
Yeah.
and kind of see, for you and your story, what areas you'd like to see enhanced within Bowers for like, us, because I understand factoring, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
other things.
yeah, so the other thing, I mean, and then hopefully Garrett had talked to you about this, is that you guys have a great rewards program. It's all I ever hear about from everybody, is your rewards program. And that's great, but for me, what I find out that some of our drivers go to Love's even when Love's isn't the cheapest price.
Mhm.
They go out of route
Yeah.
to go to a Love's when Garrett's negotiated some pretty aggressive pricing as well from the competitors. So they go out of route when they could have stayed on route, went to a pilot flying J. But the driver didn't want to do it because he wanted their points.
Yeah.
So your point program is almost too good. And I'm not telling you to change it, it's your business, but what I would like to see happen is that in these areas where pilot or your competitor's price is better,
Mhm.
that we take a look at improving my discount by a couple of cents.
Okay. That's definitely something we could discuss, in like the presentation, I
Mhm.
guess I would say. But if I'm just understanding correctly, you just want to save more money on that fuel as opposed to just
getting your drivers to go all the way to just that Loves for those points?
Yeah,
Or sort of like a universal way to pay for fuel in those locations, or?
Well, not even to say universal way. I think my point is that not only are they going to a place that's more expensive, but they're also going out of route.
Mhm.
Well, I want to at least, if they're going to go to a Love's, I want to at least pay what I would have paid if they went to the right place.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
So they want to go to Love's, right? So I don't want to stop them from going to the Love's, but I can't. I don't want to pay more for the fuel.
Okay, we could definitely, I could take a moment to show you how we can make that happen.
Okay.
And I understand you mentioned wanting to sort of start up your own factoring
Mhm.
sort of company. But if I could tell you that, and show you that at Love's, there is a way for you to sort of partner with us, and I believe it's through our factoring bundling program, where if you factor with us, you can bundle, and the amount of money that you spend on those factoring fees, you save.
Yeah, but I don't have any fees. I'm the one that's actually going to do the factoring. It's my
Okay.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
because I don't really need you for that.
okay. I think there are ways where we can create a flexible bundle, I think even leaving out the factoring. We can get into the nitty gritty later, but
Okay.
there are ways that you can pick and choose which services you want to engage in. And if you're loyal to Love's, and it sounds like your drivers are,
They are.
they're going out of route for us.
Definitely.
So we could definitely work something out to where your drivers staying loyal to Love's, we could provide those discounts to sort of compensate for that cheaper fuel that could be at another station that they're not maybe sometimes getting because, fuel prices fluctuate.
Yeah.
But is that something that sounds
Yeah, if you can make the price right, then yeah. Of
okay?
course, yeah.
Definitely. I don't have all the numbers right now.
I can have Daniel and Garrett send you a list of the locations that the discount needs to improve on.
Yeah, of course. And I know, I'm not sure if the details are completely correct, but for, I believe it's for every 150,000 gallons that you fuel up with that Love's, you can save a substantial amount in those fueling discounts. Because if you stick with us and fuel there, we can save that money. And I don't have those numbers, but once again, I can send those over.
Sure.
Have I sort of addressed that need or that enhancement? Does it sound like an add value?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think you would put in like a final proposal, as well with the tires.
Okay, the tires too?
Yeah, exactly what it would be if we moved all of our business and was exclusive to Love's.
Yeah, of course. So in regards to tires, you want those discounts just all bundled together? So it's like fuel and tires together? That's absolutely something we could discuss. And I don't know if you're aware, but this is a cool feature of the training program. You can, sounds like the next meeting is coming soon, so we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
But you could sort of trade in your current casings, get a discount, and we can keep those casings for you. Because you did that research, you found those tires.
Yeah.
You like those tires.
Right.
So we could sort of give them a new life, retread them for you, and once they're completed, and those tires that you've got on your truck right now, we could flip them out.
Okay.
Yeah, so just cool little features that we
That's
have.
great.
So great, I just wanted to mention that.
No, I'm glad you did. And put that in the proposal, what that looks like price wise. And we can go from there.
Absolutely. Thank you
All
so much for your time.
You bet. I look forward to the email.
Yeah.
Thank you. Isabel.
Did it. Man, I was like, dude, the FBI?
Yeah.
I was like, man. I was like, okay, I don't know what to do with that. I'm like, okay, I'm just a salesperson. And like, the FBI is cool. I've seen it in movies and stuff.
For the record, I didn't write this scenario.
I'm like,
He did.
the FBI guy was sitting right here.
Right in your chair.
Right here?
In fact, he's walking in right now.
Oh man, how was that? I don't know how that went. Yeah. Thank you, big scary buyer. No, I'm kidding. You're so nice. I was like, hi.
Thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we will have a winner announced in just a few minutes. I'm going to end the live stream now. Thanks for watching the finals at CSI and OKC for 2022. We will be having the awards ceremony shortly, and we have a special surprise for the winners this year. So stay tuned, and I will be downstairs to announce those in a few minutes. All right, so